It's been going on for a few months now. I can't sleep. No one wants to visit. And nobody wants me to see them. Thinking that if I go, I'll spread it to them. I just have to wonder, when will this end? I thought we were past this! Bleh! Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. My name is Jake. This channel is called Jake of All Trades. Today I'm going to be doing the Phantom of the Opera by, well, Nightwish, but their cover of Phantom of the Opera, I should say, to be more specific. Give credit where credit is due. But I also want to compare that to the original version of Phantom of the Opera. And the reason I use air quote is because I doubt that the first time this was ever performed in the original cast of Phantom of the Opera is going to have something available out there. So I'm going to grab the most viewed one that's on the Phantom of the Opera's official YouTube channel as a reference point, and then compare it to the studio recording of Nightwish doing Phantom of the Opera, and then the live performance of Nightwish covering Phantom of the Opera. So I'm really curious. I did see Phantom of the Opera on Broadway back when I was in high school. Now, that is an unspecified number of years ago. And I don't remember a lot from it. I think, I was just really taken by the whole experience. Like, oh my gosh, I'm actually seeing a Broadway show right now. I think I was so wrapped up in that I didn't really understand the plot of Phantom of the Opera. I don't know the song that well. So, listening to this will be like a first time hearing it, even though it's not the first time I've heard it. But I think it hasn't, latched itself onto in my head, because the time I actually heard it and it was when I was just overwhelmed by the experience of seeing a Broadway show for the first time ever. So that was a really cool experience, and I would love to see another Broadway show. When I was there, I saw two different Broadway shows. I saw the Phantom of the Opera, and then the next one I saw was Mary Poppins. I'm Mary Poppins, y'all! It was just such a neat experience. And I want to be able to do it again someday. Not sure when I'll be able to, but hopefully someday I'll be able to go and experience another show on Broadway. Anyway, you guys didn't come here to hear me reminisce about cool experiences. You guys came here to hopefully hear and see my reaction to the different versions of Phantom of the Opera. Maybe pull out some things that maybe you never noticed before. Hopefully, you gain some value from me checking this out. So before I actually get into listening to this, I am going to give a shout out to everybody who suggested this one. So we have, please excuse me if I messed up your names, I'm so sorry. Bethuriel, Brendan Chase, Chris O with 3 different votes, Gabriel Bardats, and Joe Benoit. I believe it's Benoit. I hope it's Benoit. Otherwise, I'm going to look like a fool right now. And Joe, if you're watching this and I've mispronounced your name, please leave a comment letting me know how I can say that properly so I can get it right next time, because you left a lot of song suggestions. So every time I do a Nightwish song, I am sure I'm going to be bringing up your name. And I'd like to not mess it up every time I do it. And if any of you, same thing. If I messed up your name, please correct me in the comments and write it in a way that I'll be like, oh, okay, that's how that's pronounced. I'll get it right next time. So thank you guys for the suggestions. I'm looking forward to reliving those memories of experiencing Phantom of the Opera and hearing some different takes on it. So without any further ado, let's get started. Okay, so now we're going to get into what I believe is the studio version of the cover of the Phantom of the Opera. So here we go. I love how they brought the electric guitar out a lot more. Bass rattle. Beautiful singing too. Sounds like the guitars are a little lower tuned as well. Or some of the scenes from the Phantom of the Opera itself. Is that Marco? I like his take on that part. I think it's Tarha? I'm not sure how to pronounce it. She has the tone that I was expecting from the original version. That was cool. We got a key change for this one? Oh, that unison is so good. I love how Marco's made this his own. Is he screaming? Definitely got a much more monstrous take on the Phantom. I love the intensity of that version. Holy cow. Okay, finally we've come to the live version of Nightwish's cover of Phantom of the Opera. Here we go. Tarja, by the way. I looked it up in between the last one and this. Tarja.
In sleep he sang to me, in dreams he came, that voice which calls to me and speaks my name, and do I dream again?
Someone in the crowd crying? I love her tone with this song. Like, it's a lot more in line with what I thought I would hear from the original version of this song. Original version. Bass tone's definitely different. This one seems a little bit more in line with like the power metal vibe I got from the original version.
Those who have seen your face, your burning fear. I am the mask you wear.
I like how theatrical he gets with this. Getting some James Hetfield vibes with that tone there.
When all your fantasies you always knew that man and mystery we both knew. When evening is hovering, when night is high.
They have such a good unison. They complement each other so well there. Really beautiful opera. That's high. Mixed harmonic. He sounded a lot more monstrous in the studio version, but here he's just going way up there. I like the slow-mo shot they had there. Nice. Oh, that was good. That was really good. Marco's got like the Thug Life sunglasses on, the little thing there. All right. Time to get into some comparisons and contrasts. So, I couldn't remember the song off the top of my head when I was getting into this, and just hearing the beginning, the organ, and the dun 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 dun. That was like, oh, okay, now I remember the song. It wasn't coming to me at first, so for whatever reason. But it's been so long since I've heard it, because like I said, I saw this on Broadway back when I was in high school. And I just some initial thoughts listening to the original version, for lack of a better term, I guess the movie version of the song. Like I like it's kind of got like a little bit of an 80s power metal vibe to it. And one of the things I liked about the live version is that the live version of Nightwish's version. Nightwish's cover live. God, whatever. Like almost kind of kept that 80s like power metal vibe to it. Like I thought that was kind of neat how they kept that, because the studio recording kind of felt like, let's just drop it an octave and like go full in on the modern metal, relatively modern metal, symphonic metal version of this. So and I really like that, because like I love low tunes, low tune guitars, and so it sounded like they kind of dropped it down, dropped their guitar tuning down, and on the studio version. So I really liked that oomph to the guitar tone. Plus the bass tone in the studio version of Nightwish's studio version was just like really rattly, and it reminded me a little bit of Chevelles bass tone. Just that rattle to the bass, and that is something I really, really enjoy. It's so cool when they do that. And just kind of going between the original movie and Nightwish's version, like the movie version, Emmy Rossum and Gerard Butler, they had a little bit more of like, if instead of like an opera, they were doing like a Disney song. Like their tone was just very like Disney princess-esque, or Emmy's tone definitely seemed that way. At least until the end, when she started going way up there, just like, holy cow, those notes are high. But you expect that in opera, right? To just go up to some incredibly high notes to make people go, oh heck. But like the tone throughout most of the song was like a very Disney-esque kind of tone, and so it wasn't what I was expecting at first. I was expecting, Phantom of the Opera. We're gonna have a more operatic tone, and I feel like Tarja and Marco very much took that to heart. Well, mostly Tarja. She mostly took that operatic approach to the song. Marco had, I guess, kind of some of those moments, but mainly kind of had like a more monstrous sort of tone to the Phantom. Like, so it was a neat contrast to have like the movie being like, I'm a Disney prince, and then like Marco being like, I am the movie's villain. So it was such a cool take on it. I definitely like Marco's take a lot better, personally speaking. Then again, I'm into much heavier music, so with the original movie version's more balanced Broadway type approach to it, it's not exactly in the genre I typically listen to, so I definitely prefer Nightwish's take on it. It was just neat to kind of hear them do that stuff live. And one of the other contrasts I was noting from the studio version of Nightwish's cover to the live version of Nightwish's cover, Marco, like at the end, so in the movie version, he's kind of, Gerard Butler is kind of doing his, like, sing for me, kind of like a Disney villain sort of thing. Maybe not so much a villain, like Disney princess, sort of very cleanish tone. And Marco took that in the studio version, and he really gritted it up. Almost like Batman from The Dark Knight or something. But just like really kind of done away with all tone and just left it as like some kind of monstrous sort of thing. And then in the live version, which I thought was kind of interesting, was he, instead of just leaving it very monstrous, he definitely used a lot of mixed voice, but very gritty, compressed mixed voice, like, and so he was like hitting, I'm not sure what the notes were, but it sounded like stuff in the like the high like C5, D5 sort of range, and so like kind of opera level, like end of an opera piece sort of notes that you would expect from a tenor, like singing those really high notes. I'm not going to try to attempt it and like screw all over your ears, but just hitting those opera level high notes, but like doing it, combining that that monster like demonic type approach to it. So I thought that was a really neat take that he brought to the live performance. So it was really cool. Also, it was kind of interesting to hear Tarja perform, because I don't think I've heard her do this, like any of her live performances yet. To my recollection, I don't think I have. And I know this is just kind of like a little silly commentary thing, but like I've gotten so used to Floor wearing like black and just being like this dark queen on stage, and then Tarja's went to the exact opposite side, just being bright yellow, and it was just interesting to see like their wardrobe approach to the stage is quite different. So anyway, that was a really, really fun experience to go through all three of these different versions. If there's another version you thought I should have checked out, like leave it in the comments and I'll certainly check that one out as well. Okay, so sorry for this seeming a little disjointed from my other post-reaction thoughts, because again, I decided that I was going to put in Floor's performance because I felt like if I didn't, it'd be a missed opportunity. So here we are, splicing this in to do the to add in this performance to compare with the others. So a few things. It felt like watching it was like I feel like I'm doing a reaction to someone else's reaction, because just seeing the audience respond to Floor and Hunk Port. Again, sorry, that's probably screwing up his name. It's just really, really. It's fun to see that they're like feeling the same way I am about the performance. Just like one of the guys looked like he was just like falling for Floor's voice, and like just seeing their surprise faces is just like, oh man, I'm glad I'm sure I wasn't the only one, but it's nice to see it on someone else's face when they're experiencing that. So and just kind of seeing and listening to how Floor and Hunk like approach this song. It's very different than the movie version, with, gotta remind myself of the names, Emmy Rossum and Gerard Butler. As I mentioned in my original post reaction thoughts, they have like a very like Disney princess, Disney prince sort of tone approach to the song, whereas Floor and I'm gonna just say Hank, please correct my pronunciation in the comments, they had a much more opera approach to that song. And it's also really cool to hear Hunk's approach versus Marco's approach, because Hank, he brought that traditional sort of operatic tone, whereas Marco just went like very like metal vocalist on the song. So you got like Disney prince, metal vocalist, opera singer. Like it's such a cool range that you could do so much with this song. And like Floor's approach was very similar to Tarja's, but they're very much juxtaposed to Emmy's, with her kind of Disney princess type tone that I was getting from the movie version, whereas Tarja and Floor both really take that operatic approach. Really, really nice. And I do have to say I'm a little bit disappointed, just slightly, not at Floor's performance, but like the background, the instrumentations, the guitar and the drums and all that, because like I wanted that meatiness from Nightwish's cover to like accompany Floor, and having most of my reactions just experiencing Floor performing with Nightwish, mostly, like you get that meatiness and that heaviness from it, and so like hearing her where it's a bit more dialed back is like a little bit of an adjustment for me. So I would love to hear Floor perform that along with Marco in a live performance of the Phantom of the Opera. I think that would be perfect. And if they could take, so like I guess my ideal and like meshing all this together is if you could get Floor and Marco, and then have the meatiness of the studio version of Nightwish's cover. Because like the one thing that I wish that they would have had a little bit more in Nightwish's live performance with Tarja is that I just wish it had a little bit more, beefiness. Like they dropped their guitars and drop tuned them and just had that oomph. Whereas it was like a little bit more of an octave up with their live performance. At least maybe it's the mixing quality, maybe it was my volume level, but I certainly got more of that beefiness from the studio version. If they could take that, put it live, Floor, Marco, make it happen. If any of you guys from Nightwish are watching this, please make it happen. So anyway, those are my thoughts on that, and I'll flip it back to past Jake here to finish off with the rest of the video. If you haven't already, like the video, subscribe to the channel, turn on all notifications so that you don't miss anything going forward. Leave a comment letting me know what Nightwish song you'd like to see next. Or if you want to see another band covered on this channel, leave that in the comments below and I will give you a shout out whenever I do any of those videos. And same thing goes for if you have any suggestions for vocal covers or guitar covers you'd like to see me do. Leave those in the comments, and when I do that video, I will give you a shout out. Thank you to BM for Life and Jonas S for supporting me on Patreon. I really, really appreciate it. It means a lot to me. That is all for today. Thank you so much for watching. Enjoy the rest of your day. God bless you, and rock on.